5 random indie devs come together to make a game based on the theme Horror Factory. But there's a twist. Every developer can communicate with each other, but only one can work on the project at a time, passing it from dev to dev. Let's jump right into the action with dev number 1.
Hey everyone, I bid you welcome. My name's Saturn and I'm from the Indie Accord. I make fun games like Slotgun, Monster Path, and Amashu. Despite being a skeleton, I've actually not played that many horror games. So when I saw that the theme was Horror Factory, I knew I'd be out of my comfort zone. I kinda hate scary games. I guess I'm a little bit of a wimp. So after working up enough courage, I began brainstorming. The first thing I thought of that I really liked was the Universal Monsters. The Universal Monsters were the first cinematic universe. Before the Avengers, there was this. I love this. Universal would just take random monsters like Dracula, Mummy, Swamp Thing, Frankenstein, and they just mix and match them and make different movies. I decided to do something similar for this game, and so I chose a few monster types to mix and match. I made it so that their powers are upgrades for the character. For graphics, I started with a couple of K-kits and Kenny asset packs, and I just threw them into the third-person template from Unity. After a few hours, I had a 3D Survivors-like where you worked for Frankenstein and had to kill factions of monsters and bring their body parts to his factory. I then Frankensteined some mechanics together from my favorite games to give each monster a power-up theme. Then, I added 3 weapon types for different playstyles. I smashed some particles, screen shake, and hit stop in to bring it all to life. I was out of time, so I used the dark arts to summon the next dev.
When you're sitting all day creating games like I do, comfort and flexibility are key. And FlexiSpot knows exactly how to level up your workspace to save your back and shoulders endless pain with the FlexiSpot E7 standing desk. With the push of one button, I can go from sitting to standing. And more importantly, it's quiet and even stable with my triple monitor setup. It's an absolute unit, stylishly built from a premium steel frame and can comfortably support up to 160 kilograms. Plus, it has memory presets. I personally have one for sitting, standing, and clean storage. It's so good that both Mrs. Lazy and I have one each. We can't always be standing though, and for those times you want to be sitting, FlexiSpot offer the ergonomic C7 office chair. It's great for office work and relaxation. The backrest locks at 93 degrees with a latex padded seat and adaptive lumbar support which conforms to the spine when seated. Then when you're ready to chill, you have options with a 4-level lockable backrest boasting a maximum recline of 128 degrees, 3D armrests, and a pull-out footrest that most chairs don't have, making the C7 the superior way to relax after a long day. If you're thinking about upgrading your setup, check out the FlexiSpot E7. They also offer a 15-year warranty on desks, so there'll be no need to worry about quality issues. And use my exclusive code C750 to purchase the ergonomic C7 chair today and enjoy a $50 discount and a 30-day return policy, making now the best time to buy. All links down in the description.
Is this thing recording? All right, so you guys just saw those other developers make a video game based on the other things, and now we're gonna make a video game. And as you can see, the nice thing about college is that we have all of you. Just like a game jam, we're gonna have a theme, and the theme is Horror Factory. So I think this is like a tower defense game. We have body parts, rage, defiance, max minions. All right, guys, I think this game is too difficult. I think I need one of you to help play the game. Who wants to be YouTube famous? All right, I'll lock in. Yeah!
I attack. Oh, okay. We are gaming. Go. Okay, my camera has stopped moving. Oh, it's back. It's not back, I lied. What is it? I don't know, I'm killing the red thing. No! Okay.
So I gotta bring parts back somewhere, right? Yeah. Yeah, boom. Oh, where are these parts? I gotta find these Franken first.
Oh!
Okay. Models! We have models.
Looking. Wait, what?
I think I'm gonna say that we need to add more hints to the player.
I think we need some explosions.
At least I had the idea of adding more time to the limit, because I feel like 60 seconds just really isn't enough.
Well, what's a good game without good music?
I feel like millions of effects. Like when you kill something, there should be like a you know.
That was the game we all play tested. I like a fun. Yeah, let's go. Oh, I'm the greatest YouTuber. Lazy Alarm, this is my channel now. Give me all your subscribers so I can hit 100,000. Let's go.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
I forgot to tell them. You have to subscribe.
Oh yeah, subscribe. Ignore the stuff on the whiteboard. Anyways, now that our teammates have planned everything that we want to fix with the game, I've gone and wrote some of the things that I want to start with. What I've done is added some UI elements because as you guys saw when we play tested the game, the UI was subpar. It was just default text. So what I've done is added these icons. Like ignore the stretched out icons, don't worry about that. And this body parts need text so that first of all, it's a lot more clear that we gotta kill these enemies so that we can get body parts. But also it just looks a lot nicer than regular default text, let's be honest here. If you kill these body parts here, as you can see, we have the body parts increment, and then once we go over to the crypt, which these arrows nicely indicate, our body parts needed should increase like that.
So this is where things get a little awkward, because that is the last piece of working footage I have. Like, literally, the only thing I've done from there is not use ChatGPT to create a title for the game, and created this cool little paintbrush stroke thing for the main menu. And you may be wondering, like, what happened to the blood-curdling sound effect that your teammate wanted me to add? Or what happened to literally every other thing on the whiteboard that your teammates wanted you to add? And to that, I have 3 words. Welcome to college life. I feel a little, just a smidgen bad that I didn't contribute as much as some of the other teammates have. But with that being said, welcome back.
All right, I'm gonna awkwardly go up front here. So 1 week ago, we decided on this wonderful whiteboard here of ideas we should add, and here it is. Here's the game. So first of all, I wanted to give the name a game. Yes, I wanted to give the game a name because I wanted to spice up the main menu. I called it Crypt Crush, which I thought was cool. All right, fair enough. No clap. Instead of me playing the game, let's have somebody else play the game. The goal is that if the objective of the game is a lot more clear, then hopefully we've made an improvement on the game. So.
Oh, yeah, there's body parts everywhere. I'm able to pick them up. Oh boy. Oh, we're good. We got it. Oh, Morbius is coming. I never went to that side.
Oh, wait. This is peak game development right here.
I think that was more successful. We actually knew what to do, and I think the UI I added helped a little bit, maybe, and then also the arrows on the ground. So we'll take that. Please clap. On to the next developer.
Yo, what's up? My name is Henry. I'm currently working on my first Steam project called The Fruit Game, a completely original game idea where you collect pets and merge fruits to get the highest score that you can. But moving on to this project, when I first got the project, I ran through the game. I had some really insightful commentary. Oh no. Wait, what's going on? I'm so low. Calm down. I'll be honest. I don't know who made this art pack. Not really fun. I guess it's fine. I won't focus on art. So I already went around and I went onto ArtStation and I tried to pick out some references of things that I might make and trying to steal different ideas from them. And I really like this tree, so I want to make something like this. This is going to be the goal. I want to make that. So if we can make this tree, I think that is mission success. And then the rest is just gravy. With the tree as our main goal, of course, the first thing I did, I started working on the candles. So I made these 3 big shapes and I learned this sculpting workflow. I think they look really candly. So, you know, good job me. Then the next thing I started working on was the color, and I was working with nodes so I could sort of make this procedural color texture. I was having a little bit of trouble, but I eventually got it to a place that I like. And here it is. Here they are. Here are the candles. I arranged them into a few different groupings just so they're easier to put around. But this is how they turned out. Look, we got a little bit of wick. I don't know if you could tell, but there's like a little bit of a blue hue on the wick. like, yo, the tops are a little bit burnt, but you probably cannot tell. But these are the candles. Look, man, that was a trip, huh? Just for some candles. Now we're gonna do it again for, what are we working on? The tombstone, right? I really like this design, so I want to make something like this. So I ended up not making that. I tried, but it ended up looking bad. So I pivoted and went a different direction. I did my sculpt, and I also jumped into doing texture painting, but I think the texture paint actually didn't turn out not great. And it's a bit disappointing because there was a moment in the time lapse where I was like, oh dang, that looks so much better. But you know, hindsight, oh well. This is the extent of everything I got done. I got 3 tombstones and I got 3 pairings of candles, so technically 3 candles, and I got the tree. So LazyT asked us to rate the game, and I will say 10 trees out of 10. That's the rating. 10 out of 10. I didn't manage to sculpt it, but 10 trees, bro. Can I get some W trees in chat? Can I leave W tree in the comment? W tree. The W tree.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Chike, aka Basic Fun. You may recognize me as the musician from the Blackthorn Prod video where we made Balatro into a horror game. But if you don't know who I am, I make my own music and I run a small YouTube channel where I talk all about indie games all the time by the same name, Basic Fun. LazyT was actually one of the devs on that Blackthorn Prod video, and so he reached out to me and added me to this challenge. So this time around, I was one of the last people to be added to this group, so I had a lot more to work with. The basic design doc of this game was a vampire survival style roguelike centered around movie monsters in which you collect body parts and throw them into a factory to progress. There were notes about the old Universal Studios movie monsters with mixes of gameplay of Vampire Survivors and Nine Kings, and after looking at that, I started to do some research on the music. I did a fair amount of listening to old soundtracks from movies like Wolfman, Dracula, Frankenstein, and The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I found that there was a heavy emphasis on the orchestral nature of the music. And then I did a few runs of Vampire Survivors and Nine Kings to see how the music plays out. So there's a bit of rock organ elements in both of those games, and so my idea was to combine the orchestral elements of the old movie monsters universe and the rock of the games that I just played. But I wanted to have a foundation of that factory element because the original name of this game was the Horror Factory, so I wanted to keep that in there. So I grabbed a sample of some factory sounds and used it as extra sound when crafting the music. I also was able to play the current build of the game to see how far it has gotten in development progress, and I see the vision, and I'll talk about that towards the end of this devlog. So I created 4 tracks in total with those factory sounds being present throughout, and each track is in the key of C minor. I actually started with making a menu theme to set up what the player will be in for. Next was making what I call the survive theme. This is basically the main track that will play throughout your run. This is where you can hear a mix of classical and rock with the eerie strings and the chugging rock beat. And partway through, the electric guitar melody comes in. Fun fact, I actually played this guitar riff on my bass using a guitar plugin. Next up was a track for the upgrade screen that you see once you complete the objective. It's a stripped down version of the previous thing. Last, but certainly not least, is a boss theme. There was no boss at the time that I played this, but I'm not sure if there would be. But one of the previous devs said that this track could be added when the waves become a little bit more overwhelming. And so I really like that idea, whether it be a boss or kind of overwhelming odds. Along with the factory sounds, I added a choir and organ pad and ran with the drums along with a rock chugging. Instead of guitar as the main melody, this time I added my upright bass into the mix. I had to really get in my classical bag with this one. I I had a blast making these tracks, and I hope it conveys the ideas that were already present. Shout out to the previous devs for making this game easy on me to craft the music and have some ideas. And as a ranking, I'd currently give the game maybe a 6 out of 10. The music adds to it, but the core gameplay needs some work, and there were some enemy designs that were missing along with some UI polish. The tracks that I just talked about will fully be available on my YouTube channel on the same day this video releases. Thank you again, Lazy T, for adding me to the challenge, and appreciate you all for listening to my music.
Hey there, I'm Fredo Films, and I've been working on a third-person parkour shooter called Cathode. It's a game that combines fast-paced parkour action, moves that combo from each other and are all based off of the game environment, with combat, because who doesn't love blowing up evil robots while going super fast? There's a small series of devlogs about it that I've made that you can watch on my channel if you're interested. So, when it was my turn to work on Crypt Crush, I found that the game was already in a pretty good place. The gameplay loop was solid, although I was finding myself a bit confused at some things on the screen. Like, what's that red thing on the bottom left? It was only after a run or two I realized that that was actually my health bar, which was empty, meaning that I should be dead. Furthermore, there was no proper game over screen once the timer for delivering body parts ran out. It just said loser, which was pretty funny, but did mean you had to exit the application to restart or quit to the menu. As a result, the first things I set out to do were to add a nice, more readable health bar and a proper game over screen, and boot us to that screen when we run out of health and or time. And while I was at it, I decided to update the rest of the UI to fit this new style as best I could. I did this by sketching the elements out, then vectoring them in Illustrator, and then adding some texture and shading in Photoshop. I originally intended to make the elements in a vector style, but I ended up preferring the textured versions, giving them an almost pre-rendered look. Unfortunately, I didn't get around to updating the 5 stat icons due to time. The next thing to do was to find some better fonts for the UI. I chose Forum Regular for body copy and Unifractor Cook, this super cool black letter font that I love, for title text, both licensed under the Open Font license. Paired together, I feel that these create a really cool gothic graveyard feel, which is pretty on theme. It felt pretty unfair to lose your run just because you weren't paying direct attention to the timer. Adding a dramatic animation of the timer ticking down definitely helped a lot with this issue. If I had more time, I would have loved to add some sound effects to further help with this, but sadly, sound design was unfortunately pretty low on my priority list due to time. So now that health is properly implemented, and the player loses when it runs out, I needed to add a way for the player to actually heal. At this point, the only way to heal at all was by using the rapier weapon, which is obviously no good. My solution was to add health potions that periodically appear around the in-game map in semi-obscure locations. The idea here is that players will have to waste time walking away from the body part deposit point to collect potions and heal, which ends up rewarding skillful play, as players who don't take damage never have to actually leave the conveyor and can stay close. This produces some pretty interesting moments in gameplay, and also encourages actively paying attention to the environment in case of the presence of a potion. To make the potion visuals, I modeled it in Blender, made some pretty simple materials for the glass and cork, and found this tutorial for making a shader for the potion liquid that makes it behave like a half-filled liquid bottle that obeys gravity. Then I just added some simple procedural animation using tweens to make the potion bottle rotate and bob up and down like a typical video game pickup. The next thing I added was infinite waves. When I got the game, it had 5 handcrafted waves, but when these ran out, it just stopped. So I added 5 more waves, but when we get past this point, the game just increases the timer, enemy health modifier, and body part requirement to create a new wave ad infinitum. While I was reworking the upgrade UI a little bit, I added 2 more upgrades. One that increases the spawn rate of health potions, and should also act as a little hint as to how they work, and another that increases the deposit rate of body parts, which is invaluable to have at higher wave counts. It also means that each enemy faction now has a nice round 5 upgrades each, which definitely tickles the brain. Finally, it was time to tackle something I was really looking forward to doing, which was to beautify the game and give it a proper look with some shaders, color grading, and lighting adjustments. Right away, I knew I wanted a strong color palette with purple and orange as the predominant colors that would ideally fade away into blue and then into black as the skybox. I started by editing the fog color, and then by creating a screen space shader that dithers all the shadows on screen, to give everything this cool retro feel. Then it was simply a matter of adding a LUT and tweaking the various color correction post-processing settings to nail that color palette. Then I completely reworked the lighting. Initially, I gave every candle in the environment its own light, which looked really cool, but caused a ton of issues, since each model in Unity can only be affected by 8 light sources max. So I removed the candle lights and kept only the brightest ones in the environment. All the lights are orange colored to really bring out the spook factor, except for the player's torch light, which is a warm white, to make things near the player a lot more visible. I'm pretty happy with how the game looks now, even though the YouTube bitrate will probably destroy it. I do feel like it's a tiny bit too dark, and it's hard to tell what's going on sometimes, but since the enemies all have health bars, this isn't too big of an issue. I tried to get the screen space shader to affect the UI as well, but unfortunately this is more complicated than it seems in Unity, so I had to scrap that idea, although it would have looked cool. That's about it for my contributions to the game. I'm quite happy with how I performed. It's my first time doing a game dev challenge of any kind, but I feel as though my time management was pretty solid, as there were only a few things that I wanted to do that I couldn't fix due to time, which was better than I expected. All in all, this was a great experience, and I will definitely do it again. Anyway, that's it from me.
To get a true first impression of the game, make sure to play it yourself by clicking on the link in the description. And leave a comment as to what you think of the game and what you would have done different. Or click on the title card on screen now to watch yet another amazing game come to life at the hands of your favorite indie devs.